Good afternoon and welcome to the offices of InterBolsa and the weekly rundown for May the 15th. The market, the cold cap, was effectively unchanged for the whole week. We saw some deviation, but we ended up flat on the week. We did see some volume increase. That was caused by, well, today in fact we had the maturity of a $2.5 billion test bond. Obviously some of that money found its way back into the market, so we had average volume around $45 million per day, which is quite healthy. Test yields themselves moved down from 8.83 to 8.67% this week on the 2020. Again, of course, for the same reason. The peso gave up around 1% on the week, closed at 2261. On the macro side, the biggest story was the February import-export data and therefore the trade balance. There was a deficit of $41.6 million, which actually wasn't too bad. A lot of analysts, to be fair, are worried about Venezuela for this year, and so far that isn't panning out. Venezuela hasn't been a problem. The non-traditional exports haven't been a problem. The problem, in fact, is the US and oil exports, obviously caused by, one, slightly lower demand, and secondly, more important than anything else, we have a dollar barrel around $50 less than where it was last year, so that's not good. On the construction side, for March, we had the heavy construction and housing construction data, both down mildly year on year, but year to date, these figures are way lower than last year, so obviously some slowdown in that sector. Also reflected in April cement sales numbers, which again were down year on year. They're down around 17% year on year, and year to date the cement sales sector is down 10%. The big story going on the macro basis is the IMF did agree a $10.5 billion standby loan for Colombia. Remains to be seen whether they'll have to tap that. But of course, much better to have the loan in hand in case you need it. You don't want to be the last person in the line in 6 months' time. On the political side, we had something of a farce in the Senate. We had the very publicised Senate final vote on the referendum, was due for Wednesday. For some unbeknown, unexplained reason, the pro-rebate group didn't have enough people there for a quorum, so the vote didn't take place and will now take place on Tuesday. I would imagine this time around we'll have more than enough people appearing in the Senate on Tuesday. The stock news, very busy week in terms of presentations and results and conference calls. Let's take Ecopetrol first. They reported numbers which, by the time they officially came out on Thursday, were no surprise to anyone because effectively they were leaked to the press by mistake. The numbers are in line at most levels, no tremendous surprises. The conference call again had no surprises. It looks like the deal with Glencore for the Cartagena refinery will be finished. They said the next few days on the conference call. We'll see how quickly that gets done. And they're moving rapidly towards this 500,000 barrels a day target for December. They seem fairly happy they'll make that via the Rubiales field locally, with expansion of the field, the pipeline being completed. Then obviously not included in that are the extra barrels they're going to pick up from Peru and hot coal here locally, so they should make that no problem. CIB reported their individual numbers for April. Again, good, tidy numbers, no problem at all. Staying in the banking sector, Creditor reported both first quarter numbers and their individual numbers for April. Both sets of figures very good, holding up very well, loans especially. Banco de Bogota, we got the full first quarter numbers from them. We had already had some preliminary data. Again, very good, no problems at all. The banking sector here is doing well. We also had the overall numbers for the banking and finance sector, and everything's holding up fairly well. So that sector seems in good shape. Aside from that, we had the Chocolates presentation. They explained in detail, and did very well actually. They explained that the EBITDA margin is down because they have coffee, which is up in price, obviously. There's one particular chicken import they use, and the weakness of the dollar. The combination of the three are basically damaging their margins. They also took time out to explain some new projects they have going on with Starbucks and with Walmart. Again, we've lowered our price target slightly. We still have it on a sale, but there's no denying this company have big plans, the ability to expand. They can expand just using the cash they have. So, a little expensive, but still going the right way. Coal Inversiones, finally, they had their presentation yesterday. Again, a company that's been a mystery to a lot of people. Again, but going in the right direction. They never used to have anything in energy. Now they have 46% of all revenues in energy. So generally going well. Isagen was brought up at the presentation. Will they bid? Won't they bid? In short, they said they will have to look at Isagen. They probably have to use a partner. And if they aren't successful with Isagen, they'll simply move on and look for other projects, be they here domestically and overseas. We've never heard them mention overseas projects before, so that's interesting. They also mentioned putting their financials into international standards, potentially for a listing overseas. Again, that's one where we'll have to watch this space. That really is it from Medellin. Again, it was a fairly quiet week in the markets. We'll see what next week brings, but we're fairly in line with the region at this point. I bid you a very good afternoon from Medellin, and have a great weekend.